When you're looking 2 or 3 years out, there's got to be opportunities that you're looking at. You're thinking, well, okay, there are companies that are going to be able to do this. There are companies that are going to be able to do this, and obviously for Ping, we're going to be doing something as well. But is there anything that you're seeing that you can share with us in this space that you think this is going to be interesting to watch? I love the wearable stuff, right? Like I think that somewhere on this body, it's not going to be 13 wrists and eyeglasses and whatever it is, but somewhere on this is going to supersede or remove my need to have my phone as my identity piece, right? So that's the way I look at it. But tell me what your thoughts are.
So I agree with you that the phone has sort of a temporary prominence in our lives, right? And all the other wearables that will attach to ourselves will diminish that importance. Mm-hmm. But to the other question, so I've come across a company called Everything that aims...
It's a perfect name, isn't it?
Well, it is. The spelling is EVRYTHNG, right? They clearly couldn't get the domain they wanted. No. So they aim to provide, and what caught my interest initially is they specifically model what they do as providing an identity layer for things, specifically consumer things. So that the way I think of it, the current reality is when I buy something off the shelf, typically I now have a relationship with that thing, but the manufacturer of that thing is out of the loop. They lost that connection the moment I walked out the store. Yep. Now, Everything's premise or value proposition is that if the thing is connected, then the ultimate relationship between me and the manufacturer or the distributor can be maintained and hopefully nurtured both to my advantage and theirs. So that, I think, people talk about Internet of Things, home automation, or industrial internet, but I hadn't seen before consumer goods being included, non-electronic consumer goods, right? They're sort of their archetypical use case is a bottle of booze that is able to maintain a relationship back with the distiller.
Yes, I hug my wine every once in a while, though. Sometimes sure, inappropriately, but
some people have close relationships with booze.
With booze, yes. Well, we're Canadian, of course we do.
We have to stay warm somehow.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. We have to stay positive in the winter. That opens up an entire other conversation around. I think that that relationship that you're creating, and this is what it ends up being. It's the ability to share my identity with whom I want, when I want, right? So when I buy like a lamp, right, something non-technical. Sometimes lamps are technical for me as well, but when I buy a lamp and I want to create a relationship with this brand of where I bought the lamp, I'm giving my identity to the manufacturer, which is so unique compared to where I would be. Typically, I would walk into a hardware store or a lamp shop, and I would have the relationship with a lamp shop. Does that ability shift the way that retail is done? Because now all of a sudden I'm getting the notifications from the manufacturer directly, not the retailer.
Good point. So you're cutting out the middleman for hardware, like has been done for other services, news, etc. Yes. No, that's a good point. I'm sure the hardware shop wants to stay involved, right?
Yep.
They want to sell. They're happy that I will be convinced to buy a new lamp when a new line comes out. But they want to be involved in that subsequent purchase as well.
They want their margin, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think is that we are so early in this game where the disruption has yet to happen, and we're talking about this, and at that point is how we use our identity as a mechanism to then create the relationships that we want to at the time we want to, and I'm fascinating.
Have you ever heard of vendor relationship management, VRM?
No.
So VRM is or the premise is to turn CRM on its head. So rather than looking at that relationship between a consumer and a seller from the seller's point of view, you look at it from the consumer's point of view, and you manage your vendors. You put out RFPs. if you want to buy a lamp, you distribute an RFP saying, this is what I'm looking for, this is my price range, etc. That as a simple example. Yeah, that, not specifically about Internet of Things, but in that model, the consumer of the lamp, instead of by default going back to the original hardware shop where they bought the first lamp, would be able to shop around and say, okay, well, I definitely want this new lamp, but I want the best price. So you bid on my business.